Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be doing a video on a controller that I just picked up, and that is the Retro Fighters Striker DC Gamepad. Okay, that's a pretty long name. Now, I'm sure you've seen this online, at least a handful of times. They're like, oh, it's a Dreamcast controller that looks actually good for a third party, and you probably were like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. Actually, maybe not, because you never know. I took a gamble on this one, and we're gonna talk about it real quick and what I think about, how the buttons feel, how does it feel in your hands, is it worth picking up compared to a regular controller? Yeah, we're gonna find out. All right, so here's the controller. Now, this is just the front, obviously. Now, we have a thumbstick that is way less restrictive, or how do I want to say, it has less pull than the original Dreamcast stick. Rotates very smoothly like a modern thumbstick. It can click in, but I don't think it does anything for any games. Down here we have the D-pad, and this thing actually feels good, unlike the Dreamcast's regular D-pad. And you know what? I think this would be good for fighters, honestly. I haven't tried any fighters. I don't have any anymore. I had Mortal Kombat Gold at one point, but I ended up selling that stupidly. And then up here we have the turbo button, which, guess what that does? Turbo. And now we have the clear button. I don't know what that's supposed to do, to be honest with you. So I can't really give you any fun facts on that one. And then we have our A, B, X, Y buttons over here. Now, these don't have the very soft, like, click and feel to it like the other controllers do. This one is more like, yeah, it's pretty clicky. It's kind of like a, what do you want to call it, a handheld system, sort of, but a little bit more tight. I honestly think it works well. I wish they weren't that, but what are you gonna do? Whatever. And we have the start button, which is also like the face buttons. I think it's really nice. It's easy to reach for the face buttons to that. I'd say that's very easy anyway. And now we look at the back. Now the back has the L and R buttons. They feel a little bit more restrictive than the original Dreamcast triggers, which isn't a bad thing. It could be better for racers if I was able to try one, but I didn't have time. Actually, I did, but I'd rather just test out a few games, give you my thoughts on it. Then we have the L and R buttons. Now these are exactly the same as the trigger buttons, but I'm assuming these are just meant for fighters more so. Which makes sense. I haven't really had any use for them yet, but they're there. It kind of reminds me of the Xbox One's shoulder buttons, just the way they're presented anyway. So what do I think of this controller overall, besides that? Oh, actually, before that, yes, it can support, obviously it does support VMUs. Problem is, they kind of stick out pretty hard, but that's fine, because if they made it big enough to fit the whole shell, like how in the original Dreamcast controller it pretty much covers everything, all the face buttons and all that crap. If they did that, then this thing would be big. And then it also supports rumble feature, and I don't know if it's just me or the controller. I think it's fixed now, but when I would take the there's dogs barking outside. But anyway, when I would take this in, or take this out and then put it back in, it would not pick it up in Power Stone Tune anyway, so I had to take it out, put it back in, and then it picked it up. I thought it was just not registering it from booting the system up, but no, it turns out it was not that. So we're all good there. Oh yeah, and it still comes out of the bottom of the cord, but it doesn't interfere with this, and you don't have to do this crap, thankfully. But yeah, I'm not really good at reviewing controllers, to be honest with you, but if this sold you on it, then that's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty solid, and I recommend it. I tried Sonic Adventure with it. I know the game hasn't really aged well in terms of controls to begin with, but it works pretty well, I'd say. And then Power Stone 2, that was the other game I tested. Really good. I'd say it works better than the regular Dreamcast controller for it. Just in terms of comfortability, that's the key thing here. Because the original controller is uncomfortable as shit. At least after long uses. At first it's fine, but then you can't find a way to hold it comfortably. But this makes sense. It's very nice. Anyway, that was my review on the, let's look at the name, Retro Fighter Sega Dreamcast Striker DC Gamepad. That was my little overview of it. Anyway, I'm Alex, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.